I'm here to cast all doubts away. Best believe that CMB here to stay. And all those who oppose my presence, I'ma give you cowards more reason to hate me in a second. Come get some, get it while it's piping hot.
Hello, this is ThatFMDude and we are playing Knights and Merchants, the remake. If you're wondering what the hell is Knights and Merchants, don't worry, I'll explain it. Knights and Merchants was a classic real-time strategy game in the 1990s, I think. It was developed by some company in Germany. I'm not sure, but I think it was Joymania. Who developed the game, and I'm not sure who published it, but there were two German companies, and it is just a fond childhood memory. I used to play for hours on this game, and I still enjoy it a lot, which is why I downloaded this game from Steam. I bought it from Steam. It was about €7, I think, at the time, a few months ago only, few weeks, months, and I think until the 30th of June it is currently on sale on Steam, so it's 66% off, and that makes it, I think, €2.50, something like that. I'll put a link in the description, but the version that is on Steam is the historical version, so it's the original but just adjusted so that you can play it on current systems like 32-bit and 64-bit, Windows 7 and all that jazz. So I bought that version, the historical version, on Steam, and then I downloaded the remake, the mod, which is a fan-made product and is entirely free, but it does require you to have that original version. The great thing about this remake is map editing is extremely straightforward. Multiplayer games are extremely straightforward and easy to set up. It's just a great remake. So, as I mentioned, there is a map editor. You can make a single player map or a multiplayer map, and we will be taking a look at some of the features of this editor. So let's work on a single player map, and let's choose a size. For your everyday maps, you'll probably go somewhere in the middle section. The smaller maps are usually just battle scenes. There are basically two types of maps in Knights and Merchants: the battle maps and the build maps. Sort of very rough. I think that's just the two kinds of maps you can make, or you can have. And the idea is, for a battle map, you don't have to build anything, or not a lot at least. No economy really. You just have some troops and you are being attacked by enemies, and you have to use all your tactical wits to outsmart your opponent and usually heavily outnumbered try and defeat them. The bigger maps are usually more economically involved, and you have to develop a city, get some economy running, produce weapons, produce food, all that stuff. Use your resources to create an army basically and then conquer. I like that kind of gameplay, so just for the purposes of this video I'm going to use the maximum settings. There is a fun some fun computer science sort of background to these numbers. You probably have noticed the specific sizes. There is a background story here with the 16-bit game. So Knights and Merchants is a 16-bit game, which automatically gives you a limit on the map size. I won't go into it here, but if you'd like to know some more, I might do a separate video talking about that. I'm not an expert by any means, but I might be able to teach you something. Anyway, let's create a map. Okay, so here we are. As you can see here, the map is quite big. Great little feature that they added in the I think it's already in the Steam version as well, but scrolling out, zooming, and scrolling in, of course, zooming in and out is now possible, and that is a godsend, let me tell you, because if you're in the original version, if you had a decent size city, it was quite difficult to keep an overview of your city and navigate through it to find everything, or when you're out and about with your armies, it could be quite challenging to get them where you want them to be, basically. But yeah, so let's take a little look at this editor. We have the first tab, which is terrain editing, and the first sub-tab, which is brushes. As you can see, that's just the way your terrain looks. Most of these I haven't really used, to be honest. I usually just go with the standard default terrain and add this, 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 and this. If you've played Knights and Merchants yourself, you know why. These are the resources. These two are quite difficult to differentiate between, but this is stone, this is coal, this is gold, and this is iron. This is a gold mine which has run out of gold, basically. So if all the gold is gone from this, it looks like this. That's it, really. But it looks a lot like the stone, so that might be confusing. Sorry, I had to cough there. So how do you use these brushes? Well, I don't think you need to do any more than just apply them, strictly speaking. As you can see, some terrain doesn't mix too well with other terrain. I'm sorry about that. I went in a bit of a coughing fit. But what was I talking about? Yeah, so some terrain doesn't mix too well with other terrain, which is something you can look out for. But it's not essential, of course. It's just if you want your map to look good, you should keep that in mind. So yeah, now that I'm doing this, I might as well put the iron there as well. as you can see, there are some numbers appearing here. These numbers are basically how much of that resource is in that particular spot. So you can get 1200 stones out of this patch, and 224 coal out of this patch, 236 gold out of that one, and 312 silver out of that patch. Excuse me. Now, as I said, you don't really need to, I don't think you really, actually I can test that. Nope, as you can see, you can, so this is a gold mine. You can just as well place a gold mine like that right here without elevating the surface at all. But in general, the consensus is to, you know, and that's just the Knights and Merchants logic as well. The stone mountains are usually mountains. They are elevated terrain, as well as these gold and silver mines. But as I have placed them here, that's not really too great, because the problem is you cannot, well, you can place one iron mine right there, but there's no other places to put them, and that is because you can only place your facilities, basically, or your mines, the mines of Moria. You can only place those at the front side of the mountain. You cannot put it to the side, left, right, back. It's not possible. Only on the front. Just the same here. You need to have a horizontal line on the front as well, because this is not horizontal, so it's not going to work. The only exception is the coal mine, which has to be flat, because you have to be able to dig a hole in the ground, basically, to look for coal. But for the stone quarry, you do need to keep in mind that there is only one animation for your stonemason. So that's something I actually just learned a few weeks ago, when my brother was having some difficulties with one of his maps, where the stonemason just didn't seem to want to start chopping at that mountain. And what we found out was that there is only one animation for that stonemason, and it is chopping upwards. So standing here somewhere or here somewhere and chopping in that direction. So there is no animation for him standing here and chopping in this direction, and that is why he needs to be able to reach this side of the mountain, basically, to be able to chop his way upwards. So that's something to keep in mind as well for your map, so that you don't put a great deal of stones here, but they cannot be used because the stonemasons just can't reach them. They can't reach the bottom of the mountain. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of these because they're just not well placed, and I'm going to use that opportunity to show you the heights tab in some more detail. Just now, when I made these mountains, I used the elevate lower option. To elevate, simply use a left mouse click. You can click and drag to make a ridge, and use the right mouse button to lower. As you can see, this is not the greatest way to get your terrain flat again, which is why we have the unequalize flatten option or tool using your right mouse button with this one and making sure that you have mostly flat surfaces in your sphere or circle in your radius of action, your action radius, you will flatten your surface. If you have more elevated terrain than flat terrain, you will still flatten it, but at a higher level. So this, you can, increase the speed of this, so that when you do this, it will go quicker. But I'm gonna leave this final part here and use the left mouse click to show you the unequalize option. As you can tell, it's quite clear what that does, and this can create some nice looking rocks, if you want to. And actually I'm just gonna leave that there and change these to be gold, this mountain to be gold. So also going to delete that. So that looks fairly decent already. I'm not gonna make an entire map now because that would take way too much time, but you might, for example, put some silver here and make sure, see, these two connect a little bit, which is just an artifact of the fact that they don't match well, they don't link up well, but I'm not gonna bother with that now. Yeah, one more sort of terrain you should be aware of. The others you can just look at yourself, they don't really have a resourceful use, but of course the water does, because you can add fish to it, like this. As you can tell, the number here is increasing when I add more fish. Obviously this is just the number of fish in this pond, and you can put a fisherman somewhere near here to get him to fish for fish. Yeah, that's it basically. As you can see, you don't need to lower the terrain for to put in water. Of course you can, if you think if you got water you need to lower the terrain. You don't have to, but you can, just like that. Yeah, so that's fun. These individual tiles I don't really use. I do occasionally use them for the coal deposits. I'm just clicking and dragging here just to make them a little bit more realistic looking, because otherwise it just goes from no coal to a crap load of coal, really. So you could do something like this, or skip one of these steps. That's up to you, really. I usually skip the second step, and go from this to this, but it's just personal taste. Then here you have some individual things that you can place in the terrain. I really don't bother with these because basically they're gonna be in your way anyway. You won't be able to build anything where that is. As you can tell, the stone is in the way, so that's why I don't really use that. The only thing I do use is way up here, trees. You know, you can plant some trees, several types of trees, some smaller trees that still have to grow, or some full-grown trees. For your woodcutters, okay, you don't have to, you know, plant an entire forest, because they do plant themselves, the woodcutters. They don't just chop trees, they plant them as well, so they are fairly self-sustainable. But you know, it's nice to have some tree population to start from. Then this is, well, this is a little bit more advanced. It's not really something I use that much, but it's basically, you know, if you say, oh, I like this piece of terrain, let me copy it, then you can select a piece of terrain, click copy, click somewhere on the map, and click paste, and you just get that terrain. Anything on the terrain, like these trees, as you can see, is not, all the relief is not pasted. You can still cancel this if you say, oh no, I don't really like it, then you click paste cancel, otherwise you click paste apply. Oh, actually I know, I'd forgotten that it does indeed paste relief and trees, but it does not paste buildings. That was it. So for example, if I put a inn here, and then basically, because that's a different tab, you know, anything from this tab is probably going to be pasted. So we have this selected, we copy it, and we paste it again on the same place. That's not the idea. Let's copy it and put it here. If we paste it now and we paste apply, there's no in. Okay, so let's delete that. I'm just gonna leave there. Not really important. So yeah, if you're gonna play the game, you'll find out about all these buildings. I just want to mention the important ones. At least for map building, you need to make sure that you have a storehouse for every player that you want to be able to play, and you should give them some basic resources, because every building that you make requires timber and stones. So you'll want some timber to start with. You can put it on 100, or you can go per one. So some timber, some stones. You'll want some gold as well, because the schoolhouse, which is pretty much the second most important building in your city or town, is where you train people, basically. Not units, you know, not an army, but this is where you get your farmers built, you know, where you educate people, basically. It's a schoolhouse. So for example, if you need a laborer, you make one here. If you need a servant, you make one here. If you need a farmer, if you need a baker, if you need a stonemason, you make him here. If you need a fisher, all in the schoolhouse, and they cost money to educate. So you need some money in your storehouse. To begin with, after a while you'll be able to make your own money from the gold mines, but that takes some time. You'll want some wine or loaves of bread, or sausages, or fish as well to start with. If you don't have any facilities that provide food, you'll want some of those to start with. Perhaps just some loaves, or perhaps something from all of these. You don't have to make it 100, but you know, trial and error will show you how much you need, basically. But those are the things that you do need to start with. If you're if you're just going to, which is often the case, often you'll just give each player a storehouse and then they can build their entire city themselves. You give them a storehouse, like that, something like that. You give them some serfs and some laborers, and then you don't give them anything else. So basically they have their entire town to build themselves, which is fun. I mean, it's so much fun, this game. It's unbelievable. Even today, it's one of the very best, I think. Especially to enjoy with a few friends online or LAN. Just a multiplayer game. It's just so much fun. But single player as well. I mean, it's just I love it. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you know, I told you a quarry. You know, you should be able to reach the bottom of the stone mountain. You have a farm. An inn is something you'll probably want to make quite soon in the game, quite early in the game, because that is where everyone will eat. That is something I haven't mentioned either. If you're not aware of this, every person in this game has, you know, their condition, and it's basically a meter that tells you how hungry they are. And if they don't eat in time, the meter runs out and they die. So everyone needs to eat regularly, and that's why food and your economy needs to be in place. If it's not, everyone will die. That's why armies are so tough to, you know, big armies are really tough to make, because there's no population limit in the game, but the amount of people and soldiers you can train is limited by the amount of food that you can produce. And distribute to your inn as well, because these guys, these serfs, they you know, carry everything from one house to another, from your farm. So they'll go from your farm to your mill with some what's that called in English? Some corn. So they will go from your farm with the corn from the farmer to the mill. Then at the mill it will be processed to be starch, or what is that? Flour. Okay. So it'll make they'll make flour from it, and then another serf will take the flour and, you know, take it to the bakery, and then another serf will take your loaves of bread from the bakery either to the storehouse or the inn. And that's, you know, that's just the way the entire economy works in Knights and Merchants. Yeah, there's so much going on. It's so dynamic. I really love that aspect of it. Alright, so what other important... the barracks, they're quite important as well. That's where you train your army units, really. Sorry guys, I was just interrupted. I don't quite remember what I was saying. But yeah, so this is where you train your army units. Quite important as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna let you find out about these buildings while you play. I think the marketplace is one more thing where you can trade, really. So you can't really trade with other players, but you can trade your own resources against other resources. So if, for example, if you have a lot of corn, you can trade it for if you have, so for example, if you have a lot of corn, you can trade it for and you're in need of some iron, you can trade your corn for iron. Be aware that, you know, the exchange rate, your corn might not be as valuable as iron, so you'll need quite some corn to get some iron. Yeah, that's it for this tab. No, well, yeah, pretty much. You know, you have all your types of people here. These are troops. That's something I need to address. This seems like a, you know, a long way to get a lot of troops. Sorry guys, I was interrupted again, but this probably seems like a slow way to place a lot of troops, but it really isn't, because you are placing not troops but captains of entire units, and using this plus button you can add troops to this unit, and using the I'm just going to relocate these using the right mouse button, and using these buttons you can change the formation. So it's really really easy actually to place a large group of units, and deleting a large group of units is fairly easy as well, just like that. Okay, so that's it for this tab, and let's move on to the visual scripts. Now this is where the remake isn't complete yet, so you can't really add any goals yet. These scripts are just not quite finished yet, so it's still a work in progress, but you don't really need the goals, you know. Just don't add them because they won't work and your map just won't play. Colors, this is why you can choose the color of each individual player, so I can change that to blue, for example. I'm going to leave it at red. I can change the color of the second player to blue, green, purple, or pink, yellow, just like that. Okay, that's that. You can block or release houses. Block houses is fairly straightforward. If you click on this and you get that red X, it just means that that building will not be available in this map. So for example, if you don't want people to be able to trade resources, you just block the marketplace. Releasing houses might not be as straightforward, because as you play, as long as you don't have anything blocked, as you go along you will be able to use every one of these houses, buildings. But the thing is, with release houses, if you have a check mark here, then that building will be available from the very start of the level. If you only have this storehouse, if you only have a storehouse and nothing else, the only buildings that will be available to you are the schoolhouse and the inn, I believe. So I think those are the only two buildings that are available then. So if you go into the visual scripts tab and in the block release houses sub tab, and you release, check mark this marketplace, that building will be available from the start of the level. Then reveal fog, the only thing I use from this tab or sub tab is the center screen, because if you click on this button, you'll see what player 1 will be looking at when the level starts up, which is this, which you don't want because their town is here. So you'll use this button really to position the center of their screen. So if you now go over here and click on this button, voila, that's where the red player 1, the red player, will be centered when the level starts. You can do the same for the second player. As you can see, they are currently located here. When they start the level, you can, for example, put it here. So it works like that. Okay, so back to player 1. This is, by the way, this is how you go through players. So now I've put some units and a storehouse for player 1, but I can, for player 2, there we go. So that's their location. I can put a storehouse somewhere there. Okay, so, and as you can see on the map, that's blue. Okay, so back to red. Yeah, so that was the last sub-tab of visual scripts. Going on to global scripting, the mission mode is just what I talked about earlier. Normal will be economics based. Really, you have to create a town, gather resources, build an army, and then attack and conquer the map. Tactic will be battles, so that will probably be a smaller map where you have just a limited amount of troops, no storehouse usually, and a lot of enemies coming at you. So yeah, alliances, that speaks for itself, I think. Default types, you can, player types. The default will be the player that you in a single player map will by default be playing as. So you should enable that for human players. You can enable it for computer players as well. Since I have a second player added here, I can adjust their type as well, but I cannot do this for the third player because there is no third player at the moment. I haven't placed anything for a third player, so it's not possible to adjust that type. But now that I have made player 2 a computer, so I can give the AI some instructions. As you can see, these 3 sub-tabs are not available for human players, but they are for CPU players. And these are the AI settings. The auto repair is probably something you want to enable. I usually do so. It just means that when you attack their buildings, all of their buildings are like this, burning. The condition is low. They will repair that automatically. If you don't enable auto repair, they will just leave it burning. Not that the building by itself will burn up, but it will make it easier for you or other players to attack and destroy that building. So serves per 10 houses, that's just what, from personal experience, I usually put that on 15 or something like that, and workers on something like 12. If you have more workers, of course, you have to feed them, and that will weigh on your economy, but if you don't have enough workers, it will take a very long time to build an entire city. Same thing goes with serfs. You know, you don't need a lot of serfs, but then everything will go slowly. And if you have too many serfs, then a lot of them will not be doing anything. They'll just be standing around and eating your food, which is frustrating. AI defense. So that is the second thing you need to enable, auto defense. Otherwise, you can attack them and they will not fight back, which is a silly thing. I think that should be enabled by default, but you know. Then this thing, I didn't know about this until yesterday, really. The AI defense positions, you can place these wherever you want, and basically these will be positions where the blue player, the player 2, will send his troops to defend. So if I now click on these, I just click with the right mouse button to go out of that mode, and left clicking on this shows you a few options. You know, you can tell them that they need to put melee, I think that's how you present it, melee troops here, or anti-horse, ranged, mounted, you know, the type of troops that should be there. I'm not quite sure what this does, frontline or backline, just no idea, but you know, I haven't used this myself, so it's not really necessary either. They will, you know, find their own positions as well. Defense radius, this is something I want to talk about just in a minute. I'm not gonna do that now, but you know, as you can see, that's just how far should you go to defend. So what region of the map should you try to defend? That's basically that. As you can see, you can go very big. But yeah, going back to this defense tab. So going back to this defense tab, you should really just these aren't crucial, you know. It's just you can equip leather troops, leather-based troops, and iron-based troops. Leather-based troops is just, you know, X-Men who have a leather protection, gear, leather gear, and you know, like swordsmen will have iron gear, and you know, the rate of equipment of these two types of units is set here. The amount of recruits per barracks, that's also just, I mean, you could just leave that at 5. I sometimes put it at 10, but it's really not that crucial. It's just a personal taste, really, or personal experience. Recruit delay, you can have them wait before they can start recruiting for maximum 500 minutes. I usually don't set this, but you know, it could be useful for your particular mission. You can set a maximum amount of soldiers, maximum of 500. Don't use this as well. I don't use this either, but you know, you might. Formation editing is just, you know, how should they look, the troops of the others, troops of your opponents. Not important to me. Now, one last important thing, the AI attacks. This is not finished, so this doesn't work yet. You cannot put enable auto attack. You cannot, you know, you can try and add some of these. I'm not sure if these work. I think they do, but I'm not sure. But in any case, the auto attack feature cannot be set or enabled. These AI attacks, I think, are useful for, or used for, battle maps, tactical maps, but they're not really. I haven't, I haven't really figured these out because I haven't used them. But I don't think they're really that important. The economics part of the game is so much more fun to me than the battle part, which is fun in itself as well. But the big addiction to me really is building that town and expanding it and having it thrive, really. So that's really fun. But you can have some fun with the attacks as well. It's just not finished yet. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the editor. As you can see, you can add up to 8 players. This last tab is where you save your map or load a map you are working on. I'm not gonna save this one because I have a few maps already, and that really wasn't a great map. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should. Let's see. I have been talking for a while. Let's see, should I? Well, I'll show you the multiplayer. As you can see, there are a lot of servers for a game, developed in the 90s. This is very active. There's some European servers, some Russian servers, German servers, Polish, Dutch, Czech, all kinds of servers. And of course you can, this is just a silly name that I have put in here, but you can create your own server, a LAN server, local, or an internet server. It's completely free. You can create an internet server just like that, just like that, or a local server just like that. Yeah, what else? Maybe I should show you just a little map that I made just to show you how the how the game works. So yeah, I have a storehouse here. I want to build a schoolhouse so that I can create troops and units for everything that I need. I can see I have some stone here, some silver here, or some iron. Sorry, I'm under the impression that I have used the word silver earlier. Well, it's iron. You can see that we have some coal here, we have some trees here, which should be useful for our woodcutter. We have some fish in this water, so that's good. And a great feature in single player games is that you can fast forward 10 times, so that's useful. By pressing F8 you can fast forward or go back to your original pace. Using F7 you can have a 6 times fast forwarding, F6 3 times, and F5 takes you back to your original pace. So I'm just gonna fast forward times 10 here so we can get this schoolhouse built, and I'm just going to build an inn as well. At the moment you can see I only have 2 laborers, and this is taking quite some time. So what will I do? Simple, I will train a few laborers so that I have, how many do I have? Useful, this tab, statistics tab, will tell you how much of everything you have. So we have 7, 8 laborers. I want 10 of them, so let's make a few more. I can probably use some more serfs if I have these many laborers, as you can tell. I'll show you that. Some more. So let's put our quarry there. As you can tell, fast forward just a little bit. So we have these laborers who are waiting for stone, so they need stone to build the road. But at the moment my serfs are busy filling our inn with food that is in here. So I might want to train a few more serfs. But once they have filled the inn, they will be giving stones or carrying stones from the storehouse to these laborers who need them. Let me just fast forward a little bit. There you go. There you go. So he's going to deliver that stone just like that. That's the way the game works. I'll make a woodcutter, and I think that I'll do. Well, no, I'll just wait for a farmer, and then you pretty much have everything you need to sustain life in your village. So, what have I just done? Well, I've just created a woodcutter that wasn't really necessary yet because his house isn't there yet. So now he's idle and just, getting hungry, which is not good. So ideally I want to wait until his house is finished before I put him to work, because otherwise he's just idle, getting hungry, eating my food. Slacker. So we have a stonemason, we have a woodcutter. To be completely honest, I don't have enough stone. Well, I do have enough stones, but I don't have many stones. So I try to, build at least 2 quarries so that I get enough stones in time. He is quite productive, the stonemason. He goes and chops at the mountain once and delivers 3 stones, as you can see here, from that one visit. So that's fairly productive, especially compared to other people, like the woodcutter, who goes and cuts a tree, and just that's one tree, which is obviously correct. Chopping one tree down will deliver you 1 tree trunk. But when you take that tree trunk to the sawmill, which I am going to build now, you'll notice that you only get 2 what are they called? Well, 2 boards, two timber from that 1 tree trunk. So yeah, I'm going to just skip through this a little bit, and we'll need a carpenter for that sawmill in a few seconds. Let's make a carpenter for that. It's just, yeah, that's the last thing you need for a farm. So For example, if you make a farm here, farms are fairly vital in the game. So what I usually do is I start with 2 of them. What I'm making here is just his plow fields. Yeah, plow fields. And farmers from different farms will work on each other's fields, so no need to mark territory or anything like that. Just like that. I'm slightly autistic, I think. I just need to have them in a certain structure. Yeah, but the easiest way to get some food is just, excuse me, a vineyard, because all you do is you plant some grapes, is that it? You have some wine fields, and this guy is extremely productive. That's crazy. You only need one of these for the foreseeable future. Once you only need a second one of these when your town is really gigantic. So yeah, that's really useful to have. A fisherman is also useful. I haven't really looked at placement for all of these. Usually I'll plan more, I'll plan my placement of each building a little more, but I haven't really done that now, because it's just for showing you what is going on. I haven't really planned anything here, so it's just for showing you what's going on. This is... I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Really. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, all of that has been built. I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here. You can just keep on going with this. If I don't stop myself, I'll be at it all night. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I suggest you just give it a try. It's very cheap. It's loads of fun, especially with a few of your mates. Just have some fun with it. If you're wondering what this is just the second storehouse I put into the map. It's something I wanted to try. It doesn't really work out well, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so just gonna quit this mission. This screen is mostly in multiplayer. This is a lot of fun because you can compare your performance in all different areas, even more than the ones you can see here. You can compare your performance to the performance of your friends. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I know it's just so long, but I just wanted to show you this and explain some of the features of the map editor, or most of the features of the map editor. I hope I explained them well. If you thought this was useful, or if you enjoyed the game, if you remember the game, if you have played this game in the past, or if you've tried it because of this video and you liked it, like the video, subscribe, that would be awesome. and just have fun with it. I mean, it's really so. I keep saying this, but it's really so much fun. It really is. So yeah, thanks for watching. I have a Twitter account which is linked in the description. I do send out tweets when I have uploaded new videos, so it's a great way to keep up. Yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you guys. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Waffle Aaron.